All right, this is my video reflection on effortful thinking. So, first question, why do we say that students need to engage in effortful thinking? Well, they need to engage in it to understand why information is relevant. They need to make connections to what they're learning in order to store it in long term memory. Simply, shallow thinking doesn't lead to long term retention. It doesn't have a lasting effect on comprehension. If they don't understand why they're learning something, the implications of it, they're not going to feel related to it, and they're not going to bother to keep it in their memory bank. And then how does it help them learn and remember? Well, effort thinking helps students learn and remember information because it's applicable. It has real world implications. They're going to be able to see and understand why they need to know it, when it's going to come into effect in their actual lives, and it gives their learning purpose. Summarize, how does elaborative interrogation support students in learning, and how should it be used to ensure all students have opportunities to learn? So elaborative interrogation supports students by helping them understand how and why things work. Relates to, again, what's the point, what's the purpose, how does it function in your life, in anyone's life? Again, we want to make personal connections because we understand that's how things get to long-term memory. They associate it with something they know or something they know they're going to need to know. And then they break down the necessary elements to make the knowledge pertinent, appropriate, and retrievable. Again, the goal is to make this something that is a lasting understanding and not a drive-by quick reflection. We want all students to learn, which is going to go with the next slide. This is where just asking questions to the entire class is going to be at a disadvantage. You need to cold call is always really important because you need to get individual answers from individual students. Of course, you can do this in like personal writing reflections, but if you want some real-time responses, you need to cold call, and that's on everyone. And I know some students are uncomfortable speaking in class. You just got to, that's something that's got to be started immediately, getting them out of their uncomfort zone. With my reading class, all students read, all students answer. There's no exception. It doesn't matter how uncomfortable you are with the language. I have a lot of ESL students, and it doesn't matter how much you struggle to comprehend. I have a lot of SPED students. Every student needs to be made comfortable, and they need to participate. And I make that very clear with my kids because I don't want to hear anyone mock someone for trying. And that's the big thing. We need them all to try, because if they don't engage, then they're not going to get anything out of it. If they're just sitting there being a passive bystander, if they're being drowned out by louder voices, then they're not getting anything. They're not participating. They're not engaging. What are they really going to learn? What are they going to really retain? And that's the big thing. You've got to get all kids, especially with elaborative interrogations, chance to answer questions. They need to provide their own insights. They need to learn deeply, and they're only going to do that if they're engaged. And then there's a lot here. So teachers spending more time prompting boys to seek deeper answers than girls, who are rewarded for being quiet, and then saying things like girls study, and then the bias of students of different ethnicities. I'm going to cover that in the next slide. So in these circumstances, everyone's learning is impacted negatively by a perspective. So I've done it. You call on more boys more often than girls because they are perceived as being distracted, inattentive, and it's a subtle form of behavior management. I know I've done it. The boy who looks like he's about to fall asleep, oh, you answer the next question. But then that, unfortunately, one, they know that's why you're asking it of them, so they pretend to be attentive. And then the ones that actually are attentive never get an answer because you're trying to crowd manage a different issue that's behavior and not learning. And then with the girls never get the opportunity to explore their understanding further, and the boys, are they really engaging if they're just trying to get the attention off of them because you caught them not doing what they were supposed to, which was learning and participating. Girls studying more than boys takes away responsibility from the boys. It does not set the same social expectations and standards. Oh, girls try harder than boys. There it is. We all need to try equally, right? That's just a disadvantage to both because then the boys aren't being asked to elevate themselves to try beyond the bare minimum, and the girls are. So there's an unnecessary weight put on them, anyways. And then the racial bias. Um, I've been in some very diverse schools, and if you come with preconceived notions as to what a student is able to do based on wealth, race, gender, then especially when it comes to thinking that they're not going to be as strong of learners. Oh, the kids who are economically disadvantaged, they don't perform as well. Well, then do we push them to perform better, or do we let them sit back because it's maybe more difficult for them to produce an answer? Maybe not, they're not as quick to participate because they're just lack confidence. They all need the ability to grow. Durable learning means everyone, again, has to participate, despite what they're personally bringing to the table. Everyone needs to be engaged. Everyone needs to be challenged. Everyone needs to be questioned. Everyone needs to be pushed. If no one's pushed, then they get comfortable where they're at. We're not growing. We're stagnant. We don't want that in schools.